lovely young lady. Do y'all see her in this?
She's a business owner.
A business owner. Kiss your brain.
A teacher.
Can be a teacher like Miss Joseph. Very good. I see. Or you could be who remembers? Say, I can be a social worker.
I can be a social worker.
Yes, a social worker.
Hi everyone, my name is Martinique Brown and I am the owner and founder of Today I Want to Be. We are solving the problem of kids and youth not seeing someone who looks just like them in a variety of career fields. We are a career exploration resource for parents and educators, and through our interactive products and virtual interviews, kids and youth are able to see representation of their race and gender in career fields that they may not even know about. With every product we create, from our educational aids to our apparel and accessories, we are intentional about encouraging and helping kids and youth see that they can become anything they want to be. We are the only company who not only focuses on career exploration for kids and youth, but we also give them an opportunity to ask professionals about their careers every month during our free live virtual interviews as student co-hosts. If you are looking for a company that is dedicated to helping your child or student see that they can become anything they want to be, make sure you visit todayiwantobe.com today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Today I Want to Be Career Exploration Interview. I'm so excited that you guys have decided to tune into the show today. I'm really excited about our featured professional. She is actually a real estate investor and her name is Kendra Barnes. I'm telling you guys, growing up, I had never, ever heard of a real estate investor. And that's why I'm just so thankful she's a part of the Today I Want to Be product, just because, we typically hear about like all these careers like a policeman, a fireman, and all those careers are great, but it's like we need to really just be intentional about exposing our kids to a lot more careers that really helps them, focus and venture out into different things, especially if they had that skill set, if they just had that gift. Kendra is going to tell us all about that as well. We also have Asha back here on the show. I'm so excited that she is back with us, y'all. She ain't even a high schooler no more, y'all. She is officially in college. Give it up for Asha in college right now. Come on, girl, do your thing. But the great thing about this show is it's actually interactive. So make sure that you post your questions and your comments. Now, if you're watching from any other page other than Martinique Y. Brown or Today I Want to Be, I need you to come on over to one of those pages and I can actually see your questions and comments. Now, I know a lot of people like, well, man, I just got some questions for Kendra. I'm interested in this too. It's for the students, y'all. It's for the students, but Kendra is actually going to tell us how you guys can just stay in contact with her as well. Another great thing is all of Kendra's contact information is listed in that description box. And if you're interested in purchasing any of our products that features Kendra in it, so your child or student can learn a lot more about this great career field, then make sure you go to that description box as well. Right there next to that little buggy, you will actually see our store link as well. So guys, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
You are welcome. You are welcome. So Kendra, can you tell the viewers just a little bit more about yourself and how long you've been a real estate investor?
Hey, you guys. My name is Kendra Barnes. I have been investing in real estate since about 2013. So yeah, and it's an interesting story how I got into it. I'm excited to share with you guys today.
Excellent, excellent. So now, Asha, can you tell the viewers, we're not going to ask you what college you're going to, but tell us what you're majoring in and why you're interested in learning more about Kendra's field as a real estate investor.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Asha Harris, and I am majoring in exercise science and health promotion. Mm-hmm. Reason why I was interested in Miss Kendra's field of work or real estate is just understanding. I really wanted to get an understanding of the different markets, being that I am originally from North and Central Florida, but now I'm in school in South Florida, and just the market is very different, even though I'm still in the same state.
Yeah. And she will definitely be able to just talk to us more about those things as well. Like I said, you guys, this is definitely an eye-opener, not only for kids and youth, but also for adults. I know that many times a lot of people think that, man, I don't have $1 million. I can't really invest in no real estate. But I'm telling you, that's why, like I said, I'm so thankful that Kendra is here to talk to us a lot more about how she got into it as well. So first question, Kendra, what is a real estate investor?
So a real estate investor is anyone who owns real estate or invests in real estate in other ways. And I can talk to you guys about the different ways, but basically someone who owns land or property. And like you said, Martinique, you do not have to have $1 million. Like, you don't have to be rich to invest in real estate. That's why I love it.
Mm-hmm. So now what's the difference between, and talk to us like we're in high school. What's the difference between a real estate investor and a realtor?
So a realtor is the person that helps you find properties. That's the person that helps you like sign all the paperwork and everything to get that process started, right? So that real estate agent is kind of like your advocate. They're going to be helping you find the house and negotiate the price. But the real estate investor is someone who actually owns property, who's making money from property and land ownership.
And give us your backstory. How did you even get into this?
Let me tell you. So it all starts back when I was in high school going to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that. So my mom told me, she said, if you get a full ride scholarship to college, I'll buy you a car. And I'm like, bet, I want a car. So I started applying to all these scholarships. I got a full ride scholarship, but the stipulation was that I had to major in agricultural economics. And you're probably like, what is that?
That's what your mom said, that you have to major in that?
No, the scholarship that I received, the
Oh, okay.
stipulation was you had to major in an agricultural related field because there were not a lot of minorities in agriculture. So the U.S. Department of Agriculture had this full ride scholarship. You had to attend an HBCU and you had to major in agriculture. So I majored in agricultural economics, got a full ride, went to work in Washington, D.C. after I finished my school and everything. But I really, and I did get that car. My mom bought me the car. She did give me that's all I cared about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll do whatever it takes to get that car. But then I got to DC and started working. And I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this forever. And so I started to try to figure out other ways to make money. And that's kind of how I fell into real estate. So one night, my husband and I were playing this game. It's called Cash Flow. So if you've ever heard of Monopoly, Cash Flow is similar, but it's better because it really mimics life. Like you have a job, you have bills, but you're basically just working and paying bills. You're just getting by. The game incentivizes you. Okay, if you want to live the life of your dreams, if you really want to have your money making money for you, you have to invest. Okay. Like as long as you're going to work and that's it, you're literally constantly exchanging time for money. Always time for money. But you want to get to a point where your money is making money for you, right? And that's what set this fire in me like, oh, I'm making all this money as an agricultural economist. What is my money doing at the end of the day? I need to give my money a job. So it's working for me when I'm asleep.
That's good. That's good. So I'm a little confused though. I know that in order to get that scholarship, you had to go into agriculture. Yep. Were you even interested in that at all?
No.
Okay. So was your focus just the car?
My focus was the car. I was like, I'm going to get this car, but I actually ended up going to a school that I absolutely love. I went to North Carolina A&T State University. Love. And I got a job at the Department of Agriculture, and I learned a lot. I learned so much about food and where it comes from, how it's grown. I traveled the world. My job sent me to India, Bangladesh, China, Sri Lanka, Guatemala. Like I was traveling the world, learning about agriculture, but it still just wasn't for me. But yeah, that's kind of how I got like through college and all that stuff. The scholarship is actually called the USDA 1890 Scholars Program. It's still active. You can even get the scholarship if you're in school right now, but they'll pay for the remaining, the rest of your years if you do qualify for it.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that because, the company is all about career exploration and things like that. Can you briefly tell us 3 characteristics that you believe a child may want to have if they're interested in becoming an agriculture economist?
Yes. So I would say you would really need to love like data, like analyzing things. You would need to love meeting people of different cultures. That's really important. So I say data, analyzation, meeting people of different cultures, and just numbers, just not necessarily math because you have computers for that, but numbers and data.
Okay. So now this isn't just the me and Kendra show. We also have our co-host Asha. But Asha, go ahead with your first question.
My first question for you is, what was the process like switching from that 9-to-5 to a real estate investor?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so I worked that 9-to-5 for 10 years before I actually left and started real estate investing full time. And I will say that there was good and bad to it. Like I love the freedom of not having to like answer to anybody, but it's also hard too because you now create your own rules and you determine your success. So on one hand, I love the fact that there is no cap to how much I can make. When I worked at the Department of Agriculture, there was a cap on my salary. There was a cap on how much I could ever make working there. Now I set the limits, right? So there is pressure to that. And I want to pause and say too, this is in no way saying that you should not work a 9-to-5. I highly encourage it. It is easier to invest if you have that 9-to-5 income. I just want to encourage you guys that with that 9-to-5 income, when you're doing what you're good at, make sure you're taking that money and then you're investing it in something so it's continuously growing, right? So that you can make money in your sleep too.
But But one of the things that I'm interested in hearing you talk about though, Kendra, is I know you played the game and then, you became interested in real estate. What introduced you to real estate though? Because there are so many other paths you could have taken in investing something to get that passive income.
So here's how the game goes. So you have a job, you have all these bills, and before the game starts, you have to pick out what's your dream life. It could be living on the beach. It could be building a nonprofit. In order to get to that dream life, you have to have what's called passive income. And passive income is money you make without exchanging time for it, right? It's just making money while you're doing your own thing. And what I found playing that game was the only way to actually win and to live your dream is if you can invest in businesses, you can invest in stocks, and those were good too, but you could not win that game without real estate. There's no way if you ever play that game right now, today or tomorrow, you're never going to win without buying real estate. So my husband and I said, wait a minute now, if in this game, we can't win without buying real estate, then we're not winning in real life because we didn't own any rental properties. And so that's what, like, literally we played the game on a Saturday. On Monday, we were out there looking at properties.
That is so funny. That is so good. Is that the game by the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Yep.
Okay. I forgot his name, guys, but go ahead and use that Google. What's his name again?
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes. Okay. So do you feel like that's a good game for maybe a middle schooler, high schooler to introduce them to just different ways of making money?
100%. It's so fun. Yeah, it's good.
That's good. That's good. So now, do you think that there are many Black female real estate investors?
I didn't think so at first. So, Asha, when I was your age, if you would have said the word real estate investor, I would have immediately pictured an old white man. Not gonna lie, right? But now I know that there are so many real estate investors that look like all of us. And it's so exciting. Like, I know people who are younger than me, who are the same age as me, who literally own dozens and dozens of properties. And so the narrative behind building wealth and what wealthy looks like, what real estate investors look like, is shifting. And real estate investors look like us. I mean, you can be young and you can be Black and you can be a woman and you can be single and own multiple properties. I know that because my students and my friends, they're out there doing it right now.
So now the cool thing about what you just said is you mentioned students. So, I mean, Kendra has taken this to a different level, and I have posted her website in that description box, but she doesn't just only invest in real estate, but she actually teaches others how to do it as well. And that's another form of income for her. But can you just talk to us about why you had that desire to teach others how to do it, and also mention what your website is?
Yeah, so the third property that we ended up purchasing, so we played that game, we started investing, and we're like, oh man, we got to keep doing this again. The third property my husband and I purchased was a 4-unit apartment building. And I remember posting it on my Facebook page, just showing my friends like, hey, we just bought this building. And all these DMs start to come in. And one of my friends was like, girl, like, how did y'all afford that? Did you rob a bank? Kidding. She was kidding.
Yeah.
Clearly, I would never survive a day in jail.
I know that's right.
No, I didn't rob a bank. But she was just like, how are y'all affording this? And it clicked that, okay, representation is so important, right? People need to see someone who looks like them doing the things they want to do. And I really felt like I needed to demystify it because people were trying to figure out, how's a regular person who didn't come from money, how are you affording this? And that's when I decided to make it my mission to show people how I did what I did and make sure that everybody can learn from my mistakes, because our story is not perfect. We made a lot of mistakes because we didn't know what we were doing, but there's no reason that anyone listening to this today or anyone comes across my website should make those same mistakes because we've already made them. And so that's why I'm on a mission to inspire and empower. My website is thekeyresource.com.
Okay. And guys, don't forget that link is listed in the description box. I do want to give a shout out to Maurice as well as Taekwon and Nicole Barnes as well. Make sure you guys go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about Kendra as well as becoming a real estate investor and about Today I Want to Be as well. So now, Nicole Barnes asks, what is the name of that scholarship again? I wrote it down for you, Nicole. So it is the USDA 1819 scholarship program, correct, Kendra?
Yep, 1890. Sorry.
Right. Well, I was taking it back. Way back. But I should go ahead with your next question.
My next question is, what is the whole purpose of acquiring property?
Great question. So the main purpose is, like I said, to make your money, make money. It's really to make rental income. So you're buying a property, right? And then you're usually going to rent that property out and you're making money every month. So you also might see, like, if you watch those shows on HGTV, the flipping shows and stuff like that, people are buying properties, renovating them, and then selling them. So the sole purpose is to take a small amount of money and make money. So let me give you an example. One of my students actually bought her first property in graduate school. She bought a 4-unit property with $8,000. And you might be thinking, like, how she buy a whole property with $8,000? So the property, of course, was more expensive, but when you buy a property and you get a loan from the bank, you're only going to pay a small portion of what the property is actually worth. So she was able to buy a property and only bring $8,000 to the table, right? Because that's her down payment. And then she's paying for the property over time. So she bought this property. She's in grad school. She's living in one of the 4 units, one of the 4 apartments, and she's renting out the other 3. So let's check this out. She paid $8,000. She now owns this building. She's living in it. Her tenants are paying her to live there too. So she's basically living there for free. $8,000 got her ownership in a property that is paying her to live there and going to pay her over time. That's the power of making your money work for you. That's the power of leverage. And that's some things that I want to, and even you guys, if you're watching this and you're not in college yet, even for your parents, like, think about how much it costs for student housing. I think about how much my parents spent for my apartment in college. I had roommates, and it's like, what if they had purchased what if my parents had purchased a house? And what if, that was a house they could have passed on to me, and then they could have been making money from the roommates that I had. There's just so many different ways you can look at it.
Definitely. And I think that's the cool thing about it. I actually learned about Kendra from a podcast called Side Hustle Pro. And from that podcast, the host, she actually features Black women who are entrepreneurs. And I'm telling you guys, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you are just so encouraged by the women's stories and just their ability to just push through regardless of the situation and having that goal in mind. And that was the cool thing that I was listening to about Kendra. She has that determination, and she also, like, tries to encourage the listeners with that determination. Like, don't let nothing stop you from obtaining that property. Don't let your singleness, if you say, okay, well, I may not want to live in a home for a year in order to get this loan. Do what you need to do to get that property as well. But can you talk to us just maybe about that fear that you might have had in stepping into a new industry that you really didn't know about, Kendra?
Yeah, it can be really scary because it's like, man, this is a lot to take on. I am the kind of person, though, who I'm like, I'm going to bet on myself. And I just feel like that's always the mentality I've had. But I think it's harder now because if you think about when I started, I mean, Instagram was out, but people weren't really, Instagram was different. So I feel like now we have this pressure like, oh, am I too late? Am I not doing enough? This person's doing that. So I will say, just make sure that you are, like, going at your own pace and not comparing yourselves to others. Like, take this information, take all the inspiration you see out there online and apply it to your life, but make sure that you're not, like, putting undue pressure on yourself as you start your journey.
Definitely. So now, what would you say is one good thing and one bad thing about being a real estate investor?
The good thing is I love that I'm able to, like, make an impact on my community and also like make passive income and build wealth. The bad thing about being a real estate investor, I will say that, okay, so we talk about passive income. We talk about making money in your sleep, right? It ain't always passive, right? If you think about owning a property and having tenants, there's going to be some times when things are going to break and somebody might call you and say, oh, there's a leak and things like that. So that's kind of the downside, is it's not always passive, but for me, it's worth it. Like what's the alternative?
So now does a person have to be not a landowner, but a landlord in order to, be that real estate investor, or can you utilize like a property manager and things like that?
Yeah, you can use a property manager to make it a little bit easier on yourself, and you don't have to be a landlord to invest in real estate. This is why I love real estate. There are so many ways to make money. You can be a landlord, you can be a flipper, which you're not going to have to deal with tenants because you're literally buying properties, you're renovating them, and then you're selling them. You can even invest in what's called real estate investment trusts. And it's almost like investing in the stock market, but you're investing in real estate. And so it's very passive. You're literally putting money out there into these, like if you've ever driven by a shopping mall or a hospital or a huge apartment complex, those companies that build those huge developments, they're getting money from people who invest in real estate investment trusts. And so I've recently invested in one. Right. I put some money in a real estate investment trust. I'm getting $533 a month and I'm not doing anything. I'm not answering any tenant calls. So there are so many ways to make money in real estate. You could even be a real estate agent. That's not an investor, but there's ways to make money in real estate that don't require you to be a landlord.
So now coming up, I do have a real estate developer, and it's a guy that we're going to be interviewing in the next couple of months. Is there a difference between the two?
Yeah, developers are going to be the people who, like I said, are building those large scale, like housing communities or apartment complexes. Yeah. So I am not a developer. I am I wouldn't say just an investor, but I am an investor. I haven't gotten into developing.
Okay. So when you say large scales, I'm thinking like maybe 100 units. Is that what you mean by large?
It could be even smaller than that, but if you've ever seen those those new construction housing communities, or like apartment complexes and things like that, where they're building several at a time. That's what developers do. Yeah, it's really
cool. Okay. You can go ahead with your next question, Asha.
My next question is, what are like some misconceptions about gaining property?
Yeah, the biggest misconception is that you have to be rich first. And I always say that wealth is not a prerequisite to own real estate. It's a byproduct. And so, like I said, you guys, there are so many ways to get into it. But if you think about the misconception that you have to be rich, you have to have all this money. It's not true. If you're a first-time home buyer, and so I want you guys to keep this with you as you're going through high school, going through college, and you're getting ready to buy your very first home. If you're a first-time home buyer, the city that you live in has grants and down payment assistance programs that will eliminate the biggest barrier to buying a property. The biggest barrier is that down payment. Like I said, when you're buying a house, it could be worth $100,000. The bank is going to say, hey, well, we need you to bring $10,000 to the table. That $10,000 could still be a lot for some people. So there are grants that you can apply for as a first-time home buyer that will eliminate that altogether, or that will lower it. And so you could literally buy a house for $0 down, or maybe $3,000 down. So there are grants at the city, state, and national level. And I want y'all to, when you get ready to start looking for a house, Google grants in Boca Raton, grants. No.
Here, that living here.
Wherever you want to live. So think about that. And also consider, when you buy your first house, consider doing what's called house hacking. And that's literally buying a house with a walkout basement apartment, or buying a house that has 2 apartments in it, buying a building with 2 apartments, living in one and renting out the other. That way you're living there for free. Like that's the ultimate wealth hack. Imagine what you could do with all the money you're making if somebody else is paying your living expenses. So make sure you guys remember that as you go into your first property purchase.
Now, is that something that you ever had to do, a house hack?
House hack, yeah, we did. When my husband and I bought our 4-unit apartment building, we actually lived in one apartment and we rented out the other 3.
So did you, because I'm thinking tenants would come knocking on your door at like 3 a.m. Did you let those tenants know that you are the landlord?
We did. And most people who house hack don't, but we did. And we did have to set some boundaries, and it was not always easy. Believe me. We only lived there for 1 year. And as soon as that year was up, because that's the requirement, typically with the loan, you got to live there for a year as your primary residence. As soon as the year was up, we were out, but it was worth it because we saved so much money, like living there for free and things like that. But yeah, we had to set some real boundaries.
Yeah. So now let me know if you understand this question. Nicole Barnes asks, can you share the name of the REIT, the REIT?
Yes, the REIT that I invested in, it is, if you look it up, you just put in $MAIN, $Maine. And I will make a disclaimer, this is not investment advice. Okay. Please consult with a financial advisor or an attorney to make your own investment decisions.
That's good. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. And then also, I know that you're giving us a lot of information. Can you talk to us about the program that you offer for individuals who are interested in getting serious about this and going into it?
Yeah, so I have a membership called the First Time Home Buyer Society, and it's basically you can access to videos and ebooks, online course, and you can also get access to me weekly if you have any questions as you're going throughout your process. So it's like a group coaching program. We get on a video call every week, and you also get access to me outside the video coaching program where you can DM me anytime if you have questions. Because buying a house for your first time can be overwhelming. You might have questions. You might want to, hey, can you look at this property? What do you think? And that's what it's there for, to make sure that I'm there with you every step of the way. So it's called the First Time Home Buyers Society.
And I think that was like that's one of the cool things about Kendra, because, when I hear people on podcasts, I just put them on a different level. I'll be like, one of their assistants is going to reach back out to me. So when I emailed Kendra, because I think when I heard her on Side Hustle Pro, and this was probably in 2019, maybe.
Yep, that sounds right.
And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna save. When I get my house, I'm gonna save. Well, before I get my house, I want to save her information so that I know who to start following, so I can, have a better understanding of everything. And so I think I just hit reply, and I said, I'm just gonna ask her if she can be a part of the product. And she responded back. I was looking like, oh.
And my mom has the calendar like on the refrigerator. She is so proud of that. Like, she be showing everybody.
Yeah, I'm telling you, because it's so cool. And like I said, if you guys are interested in purchasing any of the products, make sure you go to that description box, and you can actually find that link as well. So now, Kendra, what would you tell your younger self?
Ooh, I love this question. I would tell my younger self to save money. Let me tell y'all, remember I told you guys I had a full ride scholarship. So my scholarship not only covered my schooling, but it covered my housing. It covered my meals, all that stuff. They gave me a laptop. My parents were giving me an allowance. I had an internship. I basically had money coming from everywhere. Ask me how much I had when I graduated from undergrad. Nothing. I had credit card debt and I had no money. And I had a bad credit score because no one had ever told me how your credit decisions follow you.
Yeah.
And so I'm just living it up. I never knew that. So if you think about it, y'all, when you buy a house and you go to the bank and you're like, hey, I want to buy this house, they're going to ask you, how much money do you make? How much do you have in savings? What's your credit score? That credit score is going to determine how much they're going to charge you for that loan. So the first house my husband and I bought when I still had not so great credit, the amount that we pay on that monthly is because of all the stuff I was doing in college. And so I always joke and say that those clothes I was buying in college are the most expensive clothes on the planet because I'm still paying for them today.
Yeah.
I am literally still paying for those Jordans I stood in line for in undergrad because I wasn't paying my bills on time, all that stuff. And it was just really irresponsible. And I wish someone would have told me your credit score and your savings need to be fixed now.
Do you think though that that's just a way of life? Because I know growing up, my mom always told me to save. And then, you know, my older sister, she always told me, Martinique, you know, don't be getting all these credit cards. And what did I do? I got all these credit cards, and it was just a real wake up call for me because I purchased a couch on the credit card. I had to eventually sell the couch because I moved to a different state. And now I'm working this door-to-door job, asking people if they want to sign up for painting estimates. And I'm paying on that credit card that I purchased that couch that I no longer have. And, you know, and I'm just like, Martinique, this is crazy. You're paying for something that you don't even have anymore. So, like, just speaking to parents, what do you think that maybe they can begin to start really doing to just wake their kids and youth up and students up about, like, I just feel like as adults, we don't realize this. And the importance of it until we become an adult. Is there any way that we can help kids and youth before this happens to them?
I think just if my parents would have just told me to save, which they might have, it's kind of like, save for what? Like, the money is just still going to come. But if I was saving to invest, if I was saving with a goal, and this is the way I love to think about things now, it's not that you shouldn't buy the couch or the shoes or the bag or whatever you want to buy, but what if one day you could have investments that paid for those things? Like, what if your investment paid for the trips you want to take? What if your investment paid for the bags you want to buy? Like, don't pay for it yourself with your own salary. Save so that one day, like, I know people who literally invest in certain stocks. Like, if I love Apple products, I'm going to invest in Apple stock, and the money that I make from that, I'm going to buy those Apple products and not feel bad about it. If I have AT&T for my, carrier, I'm going to invest in that, and the money I make is going to pay my phone bill. So make your money make money, right? Save to invest, save so that you can live the life that you love and not feel bad about it because somebody else, some other, your investments are paying for your lifestyle.
That's true. So I should go ahead with your next question.
My next question is, what is some advice that you give to young adults who are looking to rent or buy a house for the first time?
If you are looking to buy a house for the first time, of course, you want to look up any down payment assistance programs, any grants that you can find. Also, remember that everything is negotiable. So when you're calling around and you are going to be calling banks to get estimates on getting this loan for this house, the first bank you call, you do not have to go with them. Always make sure that you're comparing and you're calling different lenders. So that's really, really important. Everything is negotiable. You don't have to go with the first one that you find. Those are some tips for buying a house, but always make sure that you're looking for those down payment grants and down payment assistance programs and leverage as many resources as you can. Oh, another one too. Don't shop at the top of your budget. So just because you can afford a $1,500 a month mortgage or $1,500 a month rent, you want to make sure that you're leaving some wiggle room just in case. Like, don't shop at the top of your budget.
So now I know that Asha also asked about renting. Is that something that you recommend people do now, or like, what's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with renting because I feel like renting is really good for a season. Or this is interesting too. I know people that invest in real estate, but they rent where they live for some reason. Wherever, like, for instance, if you live in Los Angeles, right, and buying a house, you need like $2 million to buy a house. You might not have enough to buy a house for yourself in Los Angeles, but what if you rent there and you buy houses in Detroit where it's really cheap? And so I don't see a problem with renting if it makes sense for you. My message to you guys is to own something. Even if you don't own the roof over your head and you're renting where you live, own something that's going to pay for your rent, right? That's the key.
Mm-hmm. What is something that you wish someone would have told you before getting into real estate investing?
I wish someone would have warned me about like all the naysayers. It's really hard when you're the first person in your family to invest in real estate or the first one of your friends. A lot of people will often like project their fears on you. I talk about this all the time because it can be really discouraging. You're already scared. And then the people closest to you were like, that's crazy. You know, why would you do that? Like it's going to be stressful, all these things. And so what I will say is just like keep going and just let your success shine light on, you know, on the process, and don't let them hinder you. So I wish someone would have told me that, because that was really hard for us starting out. One example I give is, remember I told you guys that I was an international economist. And so my job had me traveling all over the US and all over the world. And sometimes I would be traveling at a week or 2 weeks notice. And while I was doing that for my job, this company that I worked for, everybody was like, oh, that's so cool. My family is so impressed. But as soon as I stopped working that 9 to 5, and as soon as my husband and I started investing full time, we were traveling to go look at our properties. We're traveling for real estate. And our family was like, y'all doing too much. Why you always getting on the plane and look at these properties? And I'm like,
yeah.
Why are we glorifying? And there's nothing wrong with traveling for the government. That's really cool that they were flying me around. But we also need to glorify traveling for our own businesses. Like, this is my business that I own. You know, when Oprah travels for her business, no one's side-eyeing her. I'm trying to get on Oprah's level. And so that's something we dealt with.
Maybe it's the security in it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you, I don't know if you heard this yet, but it's like, if you get a government job, that is the golden ticket.
Yes.
And people, when you quit a government job, it's like, ooh, it's insane. Is crazy.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. And so why do you think that, how did you deal with those naysayers? Because I know that was something that you wish somebody would have told you. What did you literally do when people were saying these things to you?
I don't know. I just kept going. I just blocked it out. And now they're all like, oh man, we want to get in on this now. Oh man. Like, the properties that we were purchasing at first were in neighborhoods that people refer to as the hood. Why would you buy a property there? Now those same neighborhoods are very sought after, right? Everybody wants to live in those neighborhoods. Now a few years have passed, they've redeveloped, and everyone's like, man, I wish I would have bought over there. So it's like, just keep going, believe in yourself, and let your success do the talking. That's it.
And I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because if there's somebody that's tuning in and it's like, you know, I'm not really trying to become a real estate investor. What she just said, you can just apply it to any part of your life. You know, if you have a dream, if you have a goal that you want to do, just keep going, you know. And I just want to put Asha on the spot right quick, because Asha, you know, I'm telling you, we knew Asha was going to LSU, but she pivoted. You know, she decided to go to another school because, you know, she felt like it was financially better for her. So Asha, if you can just tell our viewers a little bit more about why you decided to make that switch from going to Baton Rouge to staying in Boca Raton.
Okay, so 2 reasons why I make the switch. One, you mentioned, was money. For those who their first time tuning in, first time meeting me, I am an IB student. I did graduate with my IB diploma. Whoop, whoop.
That's hard stuff.
And and so I emailed and asked them, you know, hey, how come, you know, I wasn't able to offered any grants, or I can't find any grants. And the response that I got back literally was, maybe you should look at some other schools that, you know, are more affordable. And I'm like, well, why would you lie to your students or seniors or juniors or who are coming to look at you all, and you all say, our kids graduate with, they're debt free, or we give away millions of dollars in grants and scholarships. I'm like, why would you say that to these kids? Get them roped in, and now they're in their first semester. I'm like, why would you all say that? So
Mm-hmm.
that hurt. And then the second one was just, I noticed that the school community, not Baton Rouge itself, Baton Rouge, I love it, but the school community itself, they don't care for young women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna say
Leave
that
it
it
at
was a
that.
lot of there were a lot of cases that literally happened like right after I withdrew from LSU. A lot of cases of sexual assault, a lot of cases of just mistreatment from staff and other people within the community. And I was like, wow, that's really not a place where I want to be. If these girls, they're reporting it to the right people, but yet you all don't follow through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and I just wanted Asha to just to share that, just because I know that even if we have some juniors and seniors that's tuning in, I just don't want you to get discouraged, because I just in life in general, we have our hopes and dreams, put in one basket sometimes, but sometimes we do have to make that change to still make our goals a reality. And I just really commend you, Asha, for just, making that switch as well. And, one of the questions that we had, from the young lady that was going to be on the show is, what skills, Kendra, do you need to become a real estate investor, and how do you use them on a daily basis?
Yeah, so you really have to you have to have a lot of like perseverance, because you got to get past the naysayers. Real estate investing can also have a lot of ups and downs. Like you might have your sight set on a home that you want to buy for yourself or buy as a rental property. It might not work out. So there could be a lot of disappointments along the way, but you have to know that behind, every no is something that's literally waiting for you that was meant for you. Behind every disappointment that I've had in real estate, the thing that was on the other side of that no was so much better than what I wanted. I'm like, why did I even want that thing? And so you have to know that there's literally something out there with your name on it. So you just have to persevere. But you also, and so this is kind of where that whole like agricultural economics, all that kind of tied in. You have to really be big on numbers. It's all about numbers. Real estate is not emotional. This is numbers. It's about making your money work for you. It's not about the prettiest property. It ain't about, all the bells and whistles all the time. It's about numbers. And so knowing your numbers, persevering, I would say those are the two things that I have to use every day.
Mm-hmm. And what does a typical work day look like for you? Or is there no typical work day?
It's not really typical. I mean, sometimes you might have a tenant that might call and say something's going on. Right now, we're looking for new properties. And so we've been like going to look at properties, kind of running the numbers, talking about different things, trying to make sure that it will work in different scenarios. And I say that because you have to be really ready and willing to pivot as a real estate investor. Just because you buy a property and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to rent it out on Airbnb, that might work. But what if it doesn't? Is it still going to be profitable renting it out in other ways? And so you got to think about programs like Section 8. You got to think about renting to students, travel nurses, military personnel. So just we've been looking at places and kind of trying to run those numbers and see, okay, what's the numbers going to look like in different scenarios? Is this something we want to pursue?
Yeah.
That's what our dates has looked like now. And I'm the mom of a 2-year-old now. So honestly, I basically left my job at USDA to have a new boss. She's 2.
Yeah.
And I just chase her around most of the day.
Please rent to students. We are struggling.
Right. But I know that so you mentioned to us that you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a business owner.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you told us, you said it's good to have that 9 to 5 so you can invest into these properties. Talk to us about what the balance of being a real estate investor, having a 9 to 5, being that parent as well, and maybe even being a spouse, but put it on the level of maybe, let me ask you a realistic question. Do you think that a college student can be a real estate investor?
Yes. Do you know why? Because
Why?
to invest in real estate, you really need three things. You need time, knowledge, and money. You need those three things to invest. But you personally, Asha, if you wanted to invest, but you don't have all three, that's okay, because you can partner with somebody who does. So say as a college student, you don't have the money right now, but you got the time and you got the knowledge, right? You can partner up with somebody who has the money, but doesn't have the time. So let's say I want to invest in Boca Raton, right? And I don't know, I'm not there. I don't have the time to be there. I don't know anything about the area, but I know somebody who's there who doesn't have the money. I got the money. I need someone who's on the ground who has the time and knowledge. That's valuable to me. So you have something valuable that you can partner with people, even if you're in college and you don't have the money. People need information. They need people on the ground. And that's where you can come in as a college student and start investing.
So how does a person find, because even if you're not a college student and you're an adult, and you're like, oh, I just don't have the money. How would you even find those? What do you recommend a person does to find those people that have the money, but maybe don't have that time and the knowledge, meaning they're like in that city as well?
Join Facebook groups. Like I have a free Facebook group and it's basically for people to connect and network and learn from each other. So let's say, I'm just going to use, because I'm from Hampton, Virginia. That's where I was born and raised, Hampton, Virginia. Let's say, for instance, there is somebody in Hampton who was like, man, I got time. I'm going to drive around different neighborhoods and I'm going to tell Kendra these neighborhoods that I see they're abandoned because I know the windows are broken in, the grass is high, like no one's lived there for years. I'm gonna send her a list of all these properties because for an investor, that's valuable because I'm now gonna try to buy those properties at a discount because the city's gonna be selling them, the family who owns it might sell them, you know what I'm saying? But I can't get to Hampton right now. Like I can't be there every day. So I might pay that person, and you just got to partner with people and see where you can provide value. And that's the key.
Okay. So now what's the name? Do we have to become a member in order to join your Facebook group, or is it a public?
Oh, it's public. Yeah.
What's the name of your member of your Facebook group?
It's called The Key Resource. The Key Resource. So it's a free group on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love for you guys, if you hear this, I would love for y'all to join it. It's really inspirational seeing what like everybody's doing in there. Definitely.
Now, I know that I started that question with talk to us about the balance. What does that balance even look like, and wearing all these different hats like that? How do you balance it on?
Yeah, I think you were asking too, like in the, kind of like if you have a 9 to 5, and I'll talk about it first because we did work a 9 to 5, at first. And I will say it's totally doable. Like you can work a 9 to 5 and invest in real estate. Plenty of people do it. And it's a lot easier because you got that stable income. It just was not personally for me. So now balance is hard right now for me as the mom of a very active 2-year-old. So I don't know, some days I'm not getting it quite right. It's a work in progress. But if you're wondering about the balance of like working a 9 to 5 and investing in real estate, you can totally do it because you can outsource, you can get property managers and things like that. So it is 100% doable.
Yeah, definitely. And just with that question, I know that some people may say, well, because I am putting in a lot of money, I mean, I feel like that can be like such a big fear, just because you're not 100% sure that this is going to make money for you. Talk to us about the patience that's involved in being a real estate investor and like just that confidence of going out there and saying, hey, I've done my research and things like that.
Yeah. 2 things on that. One, it is scary, right? You have to bet on yourself. Experience is going to be your best teacher. And, you just got it. You got to jump out there. You got to do your research and get that education, but don't get analysis paralysis because like at the end of the day, experience is going to be your best teacher. You had a second part to your question though. Oh, the fear about losing money. Yeah, and that's really real. And I will say too, like real estate investing is a long-term game. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is not like I'm going to make $1 million overnight. You have to be in it for the long haul, right? And you have to understand that. I think right now we're so used to like instant gratification. We want things right now. That's not what real estate's about. It's about making money over time, building wealth gradually, and then leaving an inheritance to, your family once you're gone.
And I'm telling you, Kendra, the first time you click on anything about real estate, you will get all of these pop-ups from Facebook about real estate. They know how to target us. But how do we not get scammed?
That's a good question.
Just tell us to join your group.
I would say yes. If you see something that look a little weird, just send it to me and let me know. I'll be completely honest with you. There are some really cool people out there that have some amazing resources and courses on real estate, though. Like I know a lot of them out there teaching about flipping and wholesaling and tax liens and just some really cool stuff. But I don't know. Don't get scammed though.
Yeah, don't get scammed. Just go ahead and click that link in the description box, and learn a lot more about the Key Resource Program. Like I said, that link is in the description box as well. And if you have questions before you join, you definitely reach out to Kendra and her team, and they'll answer your questions for you. But I really like the fact that you said that experience is like the best teacher for us as well. But I should go ahead with your next question.
My next question is, what can some things that, for instance, a college student can do to start investing? Like, we may not be ready to invest in a property, but what are some things we can start doing now to prep us for that?
Yeah, you can really start saving right now and also start educating yourself so that when you finally do get the money to invest, it's not like, okay, I got the money, what do I do? If you start educating yourself now, once you get that money saved up, you're like ready to jump. And so people always talk about like, oh, I'm gonna wait to invest, when there's a next housing market crash and properties are cheap or whatever. And I'm like, okay, you can wait for that if you want to, but if you're not preparing, once that happens, if it happens, you're going to be scrambling. And think about all the people, the investors like me who already know what to do. We're going to be snatching everything up. Asha, you're too young for this. Martinique, you might remember this show called Supermarket Sweep, when they had the carts and they had to rush to the grocery store and like throw all this stuff in there.
I watched that before.
Oh, okay, good. I don't know. It's like I'm gonna age myself here. Okay, how old am I? I'm 35. I don't even know. 36. One of those. But yeah, if you think about it like that, like you want to be ready. You want to know what aisle you going to, what you got to put in the basket, what's your budget. And so start educating yourself now. And if you can put yourself in a position to provide value to somebody who does have the money right now, you can start stacking up money while you wait.
Yeah. Talk to us about the temptation of not spending our money that we've saved up. Because that's hard. I mean, especially when you saved up. I mean, even if you've saved up like $200 to start off with, you go to a store and you're like, oh man, that is a good sale. I can spend a little bit of this. Talk to us about having that discipline of saving.
Yeah. Try to think about like maybe having separate savings accounts. Maybe like one is, okay, I'm going to save. This is like a sinking fund for my little shopping sprees or whatever. But one can be one that you just really don't touch. And that is, you're going to save to invest. So with the goal of one day, that money is going to pay for all the stuff that you want. And you're not even going to have to feel bad about it because you saved. Now you invested. Now your investments are paying for your lifestyle. It's like the ultimate life hack. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. And one of the cool things about Asha, are you working your same job or no?
No, I'm not working.
Okay. But when you start working, the cool thing about these companies is you can actually set your paycheck to be dispersed into different accounts. So the best thing to do is to go ahead and put that $10, $15, however much, before you even it hit your bank account, it's going to be dispersed to another bank account that you have, and you don't even see it. And then just over time, it'll just start adding and adding. And one thing that I always recommend, don't even get a card for that for that account, because you want to make it so difficult for you to spend that money immediately. Because when you be wanting to buy something, you be like, oh, I just put it on the card. But no, if you got to go to the bank and get the money, you be like, I don't feel like doing it. So just keep that in mind. But Kendra, why did you want to be a part of the Today I Want to Be products?
So, like I said, I am on a mission to like demystify real estate investing, and I found that representation is so important. Like, you need to see yourself in this thing that you want to be. And so I thought it was really cool what you're doing. No one ever told me when I was young that I could be a real estate investor. I literally had never considered it. And so how powerful is that people are going to be able to see that as an option? I just think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing, and just having these different career options. Even if you don't decide to be a real estate investor, I hope that I've just impressed upon you guys to like own something. And Martinique, I thank you for the opportunity, and it's really, really admirable what you're doing.
Thank you so much. And I definitely thank you, Kendra, for being a part of it, of everything. I know we started this last year, and I'm just so thankful that other Black kids, I don't want to just say girls, but other Black kids can just see somebody, because we see these buildings, we see these apartments, and we have no idea about the person in the background that owns these things, and you can be an owner too. And so I just want people to know, like, don't be discouraged, because Kendra, she just told us her story. She did it, and so make sure you guys continue to visit that description box so you can continue to follow Kendra, just learn more about her program that she's offering if you're interested in becoming a real estate investor yourself. Also, don't forget, actually October 13th, we were going to be interviewing our marketing director. So go ahead and make sure you sign up your child to interview her. That's going to still be 7 p.m. As well. If you're interested in purchasing any of our products, make sure you use that link that's in that description box as well. As always, Asha, I thank you so much for just taking time out of your busy college schedule to interview Kendra as
I'm not
well.
busy. I don't have classes on Thursday or Friday. So
wow. See, that's when you can go out, and anybody from Boca Raton that got that money that is interested in helping, and me, Asha, to look around for some properties, because she got that time. She about to get some knowledge. So there you go. But again, I thank you, Asha, so much for just taking time to interview Kendra. And I thank you guys, the viewers, for taking time to watch another episode of Today I Want to Be Career Exploration Interview. We definitely hope that you guys have a great remainder of the night, and we will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.